Good morning, everybody. This is your bonus day. We just had so much goodness this year and so many things that I was excited to bring to you that we spilled it over into a fourth day for the 3-day summit. So if you're here for this bonus content, thank you for joining us. And you are in for a treat today because all week we've been talking about AAC, right? And there's just been so many really, really thoughtful and engaging discussions about AAC. And a lot of you are like, okay, how do I get it? Like if our school's not going to pay for it. And you heard us mention a couple times WeaveChat. And so we have Kyanne Fields, pediatric SLP and co-founder WeaveChat and WeaveChat AAC and WeaveChat Connect. And their AAC app is free. And so this is why when Kyanne and I started talking, I'm like, we have to somehow integrate this into the summit. For those of you that are like, we have no budget, but I want to have a classroom AAC device. And Kyanne, we also talked about um, talk to friends and family, put it on Facebook, put it in a community Facebook group. Does anyone have a device that they're not using or that, hopefully if it's not too old, they would like to donate to our class, and explain what it's for, and they might have some luck in having one donated to them. So without further ado, introducing Kyanne from WeaveChat, and I'll have her tell her a little bit more about herself.
All right, hi everybody. I'm Kyanne. Like I said, I'm a pediatric SLP. I mostly work with little kids up until about 8th grade, and I'm the co-founder of this app. I'm originally from New Mexico, but I live in Baltimore, Maryland right now, and I'm excited to be here and to tell you a little bit about the app and about Connect. And feel free to ask questions throughout. I see in the comments someone's wearing their WeaveChat shirt right now, so me too.
That's so
So
cute.
I will. I'll get going. Okay. So in this training, I was going to talk about AAC very briefly in general, and then talk about WeaveChat AAC, which is the app version, and WeaveChat Connect, which is the one you can use on your browser, and then talk about getting started, so selecting your board and how to edit it, and then go into modeling without expectation, and then kind of wrap up with like our first steps and where you can go on our website to kind of get an overview of what I'm giving today. So as you guys all know, AAC is augmentative and alternative communication, and it's used to communicate either instead of or in addition to oral speech. And we use it to, do a variety of communication needs, wants, opinions, joking. It allows for autonomy and independence, allows for friendships and social interactions, and it can improve quality of life. There are different types of AAC. So there's unaided, which we all use regularly anyways, and then there's aided. And today we're going to talk about the aided communication app of WeaveChat AAC. So what is WeaveChat AAC? It's a completely free, customizable, robust, mostly category-based app that can be downloaded on iOS and Kindle and Android devices. It can also be used on Chromebooks and newer Apple computers. And then everything that you can use in the app, you can also use in a browser via WeaveChat Connect. And so what is WeaveChat Connect? That's kind of our sister web app. And today we're going to talk about using the board in the browser and editing your boards in the browser. There are other features like remote management and board sharing, but those are a different training. So I have those up on the website, and you're welcome to sign up for those and learn more about those features as well. So the first thing we're going to talk about is adding and editing your boards. So in all things happen in settings. And so if you're in the app and you open it up, you'll be opened to the chat screen. So you would go to settings, and then you can add a new board using this up here. There are 16 different boards available from sizes 2 buttons all the way up to 105 buttons. The one of the 7x15 has 105 positions and a QWERTY board on it. The Morgan board and the 8x10 have been designed by Morgan, and she's an AAC researcher and an AAC user. And those boards are the most robust of our boards. They're designed to be incredibly efficient. So I think those are the best starting boards. And I'm going to be working on adding a 6x10 because that's a missing size, and have it also be efficient and easy to use. So if you want to add a new board in the app, you're going to go to Settings, Board Builder, add a new board. And if you're in Connect, you're going to go to My Boards and then add a board, and then you have the exact same boards available in the browser as well. Once you've picked a board, if you didn't like it, you can delete it in both places as well. You can also copy the board. So if you made a board and you're like, wow, this is so awesome, I want to copy it before I make any changes to it, you can copy in both Connect and you can copy in both in the app as well. And then you can edit your boards here as well. So all of our boards are designed to stretch to fill the screen, so they're dynamic and they'll fit the device they're on. This can cause sometimes the buttons to be more rectangular. Some of our users really don't like that. So if you want to keep it square, you're going to make your board scrollable. And this is an option in both Connect and in the app. And in the app, you would slide the board you want to adjust to the left, and then press this edit button, which is this pencil and paper one, and you would make it scrollable. And then all of your buttons will be square again, but you might need to scroll a little bit on the screen to see that. So that's about finding and setting up your board size. And there are individual videos for each of those things on YouTube and on our website about everything I explained in more detail. So if you want to then edit any of your boards, you can do this again in the app and settings. And in Connect, you're going to do it in My Boards and you're going to do edit. So if you want to add or edit any of the buttons, you would go to Button Editor. You would add your own custom words or folders in these two, and it would show up like this. And here you can give it a label, adjust the pronunciation, choose what category it goes into. Excuse me. And if you wanted it to be text only, you can also make it a text only button. This is exactly the same in Connect. You would just use the new button, and then you would build it out the exact same way. But a cool feature in Connect is that if you're already in the category where you want that button to go, the category piece will be automatically filled in, and you can watch in real time as that word is added to that category. If you added a custom word or a custom category and you didn't want it anymore, you would delete it. So in Settings, Button Editor, you would swipe what you wanted to delete to the left, and then you would press the red trash bin. As a caveat, you can only delete custom buttons right now in the app. You can't do that on Connect. All of the WeaveChat symbols can be edited. You can change the label on them. You could change the pronunciation. You could change what category they're in. And you can do that in both the app and in Connect as well. And then you can also record audio to a button. You can record 15 seconds of audio right now, but you can only do that in the app. And um, because the app uses system voices and not, we don't provide the voices, that's part of how the app is free. You will have to just, if you're using it on multiple devices, you'll have to record the audio on each of those devices. If you're editing your buttons in Connect, you're going to use this edit button. And so then again, you can change the picture, you can change the label, and you can change the category that it goes in. Our app is designed so that all buttons in any position can be changed. So you would just hold down on that button. Hide a button. If you, in this example, I'm showing that you can move it. So I wanted to move this $5 to down at the bottom. So I tap one and then I tap where I want it to go. And then it works similar in Connect as well. You would just use the change buttons and then you just select the button you want to change. So in this example, I'm changing not and I'm changing it for no. So I search for no. And then when I press that, it replaces it. I think that editing in Connect can be easier because you do everything all in one place, whereas in the app, you have to move between different settings, but they both allow you to do the same thing. And then if you want to hide a button, you would press hide a button, and then because you're in editing mode, it'll show up as transparent, but once you're not in editing mode anymore, they'll just show up as white spots. So that's all about picking out a board and then editing the buttons on the board. So board settings is the next section, and that is all about setting up the board and how it works for each person. So these are accessed in the app again through settings, board settings, and then if you're on the board, you're going to just be in editing mode, and then you're going to go to the settings section in the bottom right hand corner. This is where you're going to go to determine what buttons talk. So you can have synthetic voice or categories, or you cannot. Same for each word. You can have each word speak out loud, or you can have it so that the words only speak when you press the sentence bar at the top. You can make it so that buttons are text only, and you can also make it so that the sentence in the message bar is text only. By default, it shows the images, but if you want it to be text only, you can do that as well. This is our recommendations bar. This is a smart bar. It will adjust with what the user is saying and based on the frequency of what they're saying and how they're saying their sentences. So those first three spots will adjust. The rest of them are smart based on what we've programmed it to do. So like if you put in verbs, they'll show different verb endings. If you're putting in nouns, it's going to show different pluralizations. So, so that's the recommendation bar. And then if you choose anything in that bar, it will automatically connect to the word that it goes to. So say I press go, and then I wanted to make it, I press ED, it would automatically change to say whacked. It wouldn't say goed. Um, Along with that, these are our verbs. So in English, all of our verbs are in past, present, and future tense. Um, that requires 2 taps. If you wanted it to be a single tap, you could press simple verbs to set that up, and then all of these verbs will just be present tense, so single tap. You again, because of that recommendations bar at the top, though, still have the option for changing the tense of any of your verbs. Um, this is the pause button, so it only becomes red when the sentence is being spoken aloud. Otherwise, it shows up green like this as the backspace button. And then you can also set it up so that that backspace button becomes a clear all based on a double tap. So that's this one. You can double tap it to make it a clear all. And then this trash bin is also a clear all button. And you can either have that or take it away. This one might be really helpful, especially if you have younger kids that you're working with. Open image board when the app loads. This will make it so that you bypass the chat screen and just go directly to the board. And then you can also lock it there. So there's a section of the app called pin configuration. It's settings, pin configuration. And you would then select lock to board and enable pin and put in your pin and save. And then it'll also make it so that the app is locked to the board and that the user can't exit the actual communication board unless the pin is inputted. Um, Vocab packs is our answer to having more vocabulary available that maybe not everybody wants, but that if you want it, it should be there. So we have a variety of different topics. We have adult topics, which are more about like intimacy and adult beverages. We have children-specific storybooks. I am an SLP, so these are the storybooks I often use with my students. So I drew all of the fringe that goes with them. So there's several like Eric Carle books and books about individuals that use AAC. There's everyday topics, so that's where you would turn on like the currency for your country. There's different health topics. This is 2 of them. There's also ICU vocabulary. And then our languages, I'm building out. We have an ASL board, but I'm planning on adding sign language boards for other languages as well. And then in the same way that you would add it in the app, you can also add any of the vocabulary packs in Connect as well using the vocab pack button. Look and feel refers to the colorings of the app, the size of the buttons, so those things can all be adjusted as well. You would go to settings, look and feel. Here you can determine the size of your buttons, the size of the font, the size of the border width. If you want it in light mode, which is what's displayed here, or dark mode, and then the background would be black. These are new, these came out last week, dwell time and release time. So how long between you can press a button and how long you have to hold down the button before it speaks. So those can be adjusted there as well. We have a Finder search feature both in the app and on the browser, and it works exactly the same in both places. You're going to type in the word. It'll start to show you the words that have those letters. It will show you the path, but then if you press the Show Me button, it'll actually take you on that journey and require that you press each of those buttons to find out where that is. It works exactly the same here in Connect. And then there are a few features that are in the app only. They just don't always make sense on the browser. And so those are things like being able to edit what's in the sentence up there. So any sentence you create, you can edit, you can move buttons around, you can delete buttons, and you could add new words to that sentence. And this will work both if you have it as a text only or if you have it as symbols up there. So you can do it by pressing down on any of the buttons or on the button that you want to edit. And so I'm choosing in this example to add a word to the left of my button. And I know it's going to go there because I have this plus sign. So I can pick my word and it now takes that spot and I have a complete sentence. So you can do that for anything on there. You can also share your messages outside of the app. So you can share what you wrote as the picture symbols. You can share it as text only, or you can share it as bigger text right here. These were actually all features that were added based on user requests, and I think that's really cool that we can do that. And then we have a drawing board as well. So you have your communication board, and then if you press that draw button, you have your drawing board or your whiteboard. If it's in dark mode, the background will be black, so it scrubs. You can adjust your brush size, the color, and then it's been designed so that the picture that's in the whiteboard will not clear until you clear it. So that means you can easily go back and forth between the drawing board and the communication board without the picture disappearing. We also have emotion tones. So we have our regular synthetic voice, happy, sad, excited, and angry. All of our emotion tones are in beta, which means we're still working on them. So right now, the happy and the sad make the most sense, and we're still working on excited and angry. But they're there, and they're kind of fun. And then you can text within the app. When I've talked to people in the past, it's been a really exciting feature for like teenagers who are using AAC and adults who are using it. So you can text using the symbols, you can text using just words, you can text individually, you can text as a whole group. And it's also how you can access support within the app. I am support, so if you message in the app, you will be getting me and I will answer your question. All right, so that is all about the app. Now I just want to briefly touch on modeling without expectation and how you could use this app or any app to really model to other individuals. So how does one learn to use AAC? With practice, with modeling, right? It's how we all learn language, and so we have to provide those opportunities for others. So we're going to talk a little bit about core words and friend words. This is actually the 100 core words that are in, if you choose in Word Builder, if you choose the core 100 board, these are the words that will show up there. And core words are the words that we frequently use, and they can be used across contexts. And friend words are those specific words that we use to provide extra information with our core words. So you can model. So I really like modeling during mealtime. And if I can get into a classroom and model while kids are eating, there's just so much natural language that I can model. Because you can model words like eat and want, and you can model textures, right? You can be like, oh man, that apple is crunchy. You can model colors. You can model commenting, right? Like, yum, I love this, or ugh, this is gross. You can model preferences. So you can use the app to model all of those things. And when I say model without expectation, I mean just model. If they imitate you or if they start to do it, that is what we want. But modeling without expectation means that we're not putting pressure on them to then imitate what we're saying. So mealtime is one of my favorite times to model. And then also obviously during play because I work with young kids. And again, you can model an assortment of words. You can model fringe because you're going to be playing with those toys. And you can also model the core, like words like go and stop and all of your prepositions. Um, and so, you know, I think you can adjust it based on the child, right? So, if they're saying one word, you can model 2 to 3 words and so on and so forth. And then my last and favorite place to model is with literacy and with books because they're so interconnected. So these are some of my favorite books that I use. And some of these books are also in the app. So like Eddie the Elephant is in the app. And so is Eric Carle. And so the fringe for these books has been drawn, and so they can be used while talking about these books as well. So not only are they in the app under vocab packs, children's storybooks, they're also on our website in PDF form, so you could print them out as well to go with the books. And then actually, yeah, Eddie the Elephant, so this book right here was written by an SLP in Canada. And if you want to purchase her book, she has it on her website. So bringing it all together, so you've learned about WeaveChat, you know about modeling with expectation. So what do? You can download the app, which I think a lot of you guys did already based on what I was reading in the comments. You can pick out the board size that you want to use. You can edit any of the buttons or the categories. You can add your own buttons and your own categories. You can determine the look and feel of the app. Make sure you choose a voice. Because we use system voices, if you're using the app on multiple different platforms, you're going to have to pick a voice on each one. So if you have like an iPad and an Android phone, you would have to pick a voice on each one of them. You can set up pin configuration. That's where I was talking about how you can have it locked to the board. And then you can introduce the app during different activities. And then there's a document on our website, weavechat.com, that has a getting started. That's the link right on the screen. And that kind of summarizes everything that I talked about today in terms of getting started with the app, just as like something to reference while you're doing it. And so that's my presentation. These are all of my contacts. So I'm all up for questions if anybody has any.
Oh my gosh, Kyanne, that was awesome. You taught me things I didn't know about the app, and oh my gosh, you could tell, you can see all these comments coming in. Everyone is like, let's go. I had no idea this was available, and they're so impressed. I did take a screenshot of a couple of questions that I saw come up during because they get buried so quickly. Well, someone said, Heather said, somehow I misunderstood when she talked about it briefly at the beginning, but what's the difference between WeaveChat and WeaveChat Connect?
Yes, WeaveChat AAC is the app version. It's the one you would download to an iPad or a phone, or you could download to like Chrome. That's the one you're going to find in your app store. And then Connect is browser based, so you can access it. Yes, you can use it on Kindles. It's browser based, and you can use it on. I use it on Chrome, but you could use it on Safari. You could use it on. I think Bing is the Microsoft one, so you can use it on any browser.
Okay, here's another one.
The app works without Wi-Fi. If you want to edit it, though, you do need to be attached to Wi-Fi.
All right. Someone asked if it's available in any other languages.
Yes, it's actually available in 21 different languages. I saw somebody specifically asked about French. Yes, it's available in French, Italian, Romanian, Macedonian, Greek, Spanish, Vietnamese. I'm missing some. But do know that all of the other languages outside of English are in what we're calling alpha mode, which means the vocabulary has been translated, but we haven't gone in and made any language specific changes. So we haven't added in grammar, we haven't added in any specific words that make that language good for the culture that's using it. We're working on Spanish right now, though. So we're working on Spanish grammar, so that'll be the
Oh,
first one to get grammar.
oh, nice. I love that.
I don't
Um,
have the answer to the oldest iPad or Chromebook question, but if you go to the app in the App Store, it'll tell you the oldest version of the iOS that it supports.
Perfect. Perfect. We have a question from Cass. It says, in phrases, when will we be able to tap to hear the audio for each individual button of the phrase separately and all together like now? This would be a game changer for GLP mitigation and modeling. And I don't know if that's something on the radar or not.
In the like the pre-built phrases,
There you go. Cass, if in the comments, if you are able to clarify.
I don't know what you mean by individual button versus as a phrase.
Okay, we'll see. If she gets back to us, we can
All right, sorry
pull
about
that.
that.
Yeah, that was kind of a more detailed question, you know.
Yeah,
And if you see any questions coming up, for
I
sure.
do. Terry, you will not be able to use Yahoo email. The Yahoo servers don't send the login token quick enough, so Yahoo does not.
Okay. Here's another question. Someone asked, what is fringe? I'm new to AAC. We're talking about core words and fringe.
Oh, yeah. So fringe is all of the extra words we use. So core words are the words that we can use in multiple situations, like go, like I'm going to sit down, I'm going for a drive, the car is going down the track. So those are words you can use in multiple situations. But the fringe words would be like car. They would be like I'm drinking coffee. Coffee is whereas drink is the core word because you can use that across multiple settings. The fringe is the extra words that we use with everything. They're the words that are
Yeah.
often most interesting to our little kids, the fringe words.
Yeah. And I think, like, you think of a core board, it's made up of a lot of verbs, adverbs, you have some prepositions, things like that, things that can be used overall for lots of different reasons. Or so if you're modeling or a child is saying eat, okay, that could mean many things, but it's like if you teach some of those core words or model them, I'm not explaining it very well, but think of words that can be applicable to a lot of things like eat. But then fringe words are like goldfish crackers, cookie, cheese, strawberries, could be specific objects and toys. And so that's where it's nice to, with a core board, you're limited because, yeah, they can maybe let you know eat or play, but there's so many things then past that fringe words can cover, like all the specifics, the things that they want to tell us. And so I think it's really great with a robust AAC device that you can have both, right? And with all the folders in a device, you're able to get to so many things versus a communication book where you're limited to whatever the adult puts in that book, the pictures. Okay, did you see any other?
Uh-huh. I have several I'm going to answer.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so the one about personalized board syncing across devices and using across different devices, yes. You're going to log in to the same account across different devices, and then everything that is on one device will be accessible on the other device. And that's completely dependent. It'll work even across platforms. And then everything that you have on the app, if you log in to Connect on a browser, that same information will show up there as well. It's all stored in the cloud. So as long as you can download the newest version that you edited, everything will be the same. Um, and then the Spanish. There should be both Spanish, Spain, and then we also have Latin or Mexican Spanish as well. So they were both translated separately. So like we'll have also versions for the Spanish Spain, but not so much in the one for Mexico. Um, if you're making the account, so the reason COPA laws require that we hide certain vocabulary depending on age. So, like those adult topics will not show up if you are a preschool child. Um, like there are curse words in there, profanity, they won't show up until you're like 13. Any adult intimate activity will not show up until you're like 16. Alcohol doesn't show up until then either. So these are, so I would suggest putting the age in based on the student. If it's a child, the parent will have to give, if they're under 13, a parent will have to give consent to use the app.
Awesome. I know you're kind of looking at questions too. I'm going to scroll back and see if there's any that we missed. Thank you for fielding these questions, Kyanne. It's really,
Oh yeah, of course.
really helpful.
Yes, I will look into that. I will look into what you said. It's possible I didn't quite understand the ask when you submitted it last year, so I'll have to look at it again.
All right. Anyone else? Anything? Oh, here's one.
Yes, you can do that. You can definitely program your own sentences or phrases. I use there's a whole phrase section. So if you're in settings, phrases, you can enter phrases that you can use across anywhere in the app. And then if you want to set it up so you have phrases in specific categories, I do that by using the add a word function in the button editor.
Awesome. Ashley is behind the scenes. I don't know if you saw any other questions come up, but kind of scrolling back, I think we got most of them.
Yeah. Yeah, you can change the age as they get older.
Here's another one.
So since we don't make the voices, we just use what's on your app. That's a little bit of trial and error based on your device. But I know that on iOS, the children's voices are Noel and Joel, but you might need to download those in accessibility on the app first. And then I know for Android, like the Acapella group provides voices that you can download for small fees. That might help for Android devices that have less voices available.
Awesome. Okay, this is a really interesting question.
Oh, yes, definitely. I have it on my phone. It was originally designed for phones first, and then we expanded to include things like tablets and the computer.
Okay. Yeah. And have you seen or have you heard of apps like this being used with, like she said, her dad's been primarily non-speaking since 2001 due to a stroke?
Yeah, I actually get questions from adult children setting up this device for their parents quite frequently. And if you wanted like a specific, like one-on-one or one in a smaller group, there are trainings on the website that you can sign up for, and I can talk you through it a little bit more individualized.
Okay. All right. We've got some more probably quick
It
questions.
should work on smartboards. If you sign in on WeaveChat Connect, it would definitely work on a smartboard. Or if you're like have it on an iPad and you HDMI it over to the smartboard, it should work.
Awesome. These are like our rapid fire questions, I think.
Yeah. Some of them are set up in the same order as a corkboard, the original ones, and then as I have become more experienced and more knowledgeable in this whole thing, I've been changing them to be more useful.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks, Abby.
Their WeaveChat Connect is the things that I talked about today were free features. There are some paid features in WeaveChat Connect. There is a marketplace where you can upload boards and pull down other boards that other people have made. That's on there. That's also how you would share boards between users. And then as professionals, if you wanted to do any remote editing of other people's boards from your computer without having to log into their account or take their device, you could also do that through WeaveChat Connect. And that's the other training I was talking about at the very beginning. And if you want to sign up for one of those are on our website as well to sign up for.
Awesome. I have one that is interesting.
Okay, go for it. This one,
Is there,
the teaching core words one.
oh, sorry.
Um,
It says, is there a certain order you would recommend teaching the core words?
um, I I think for my kids, I teach the core words probably like 2 per month. I'll often teach them based on what's happening in that month. So maybe like during December, I might teach the word open as we're like talking about opening gifts, or I might, I usually teach the word stop early on in the school year in like September. That way I can have that word acknowledged and known by the time we are going through our whole school year. So I just kind of pick the core words based on the activity. Like if I'm talking about prepositions like the word in, I'm going to add in the core word put as well. So we're going to put in, or I might add in the core word take, like take out. So you can combine the core words together as well.
I like that because when you think about teaching core words, like a lot of what we have heard is really modeling naturally based on what's happening. But if you know certain activities are going to be happening, like open in December, opening presents, like it just gives you more chances then to model what is going to be naturally happening in a lot of the kids' environments at that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You see
Well,
anything
if you
else,
guys
Abby?
have any other questions for me, like I said, I'm available in the app. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook and via email. Um, yes, I do teach the opposites. I teach opposites all day long. Uh, and yeah, I provide trainings about twice a week also online. So if you want anything additional, they're there. And then our YouTube channel has um, step-by-step um, info on how to do every single thing I talked about.
Awesome. And we will make sure that this replay is available to everybody at the summit. And
Okay.
we will underneath link all the things that you talked about so that they can quickly go over and check out your YouTube channel to get all those questions answered of like, how do I do this again? How do I do this? And watch this video.
Yeah.
Someone asked if you had the handout available for this.
Yeah, it's on our website. If you go to the home page, there'll be 3 links. One will say like WeaveChat Connect, one will say getting started, and one will say I think download. So the getting started one is the handout.
Okay, perfect. We'll get that linked for everybody too. Okay, Kyanne, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank
And I think
you.
you're going to probably see a lot more people subscribing to your YouTube channel. So we really appreciate you being here. And she had a power outage at home last night. So she went to a coffee shop to make this happen for you guys. So thank you for that A+
I
effort
have
there.
this cool background.
I know, beautiful. And, when we were setting this up, there was a loud talker at the coffee shop. And so she went outside and yeah, I'm just so glad it worked out. So
Me
thank
too.
you.
Thank you so much
And
for having me.
yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Uh,